Hey guys, welcome to Bite Me. This is Interview with OldManMurphy, The Cruelty of Human Nature. The world is a cruel place and undeniably becoming more so every passing day. I've always been neither a pessimist or an optimist, but rather a realist seeing things for what they are. That said, even I have to try and stop and smell the flowers once in a while when compassion fatigue sets in. That is, after all, what keeps us human. Sentient beings on a giant floating rock edging closer and closer to our own extinction every day, we still, as Mr. Rogers would say, look for the helpers. So, what's that all about? How do we keep our benevolence about us when so very much is going on constantly that's just horrid? Today, we're going to discuss altruism with somebody who you'd probably least expect, a white guy. Old Man Murphy is here to show his sensitive side on this episode of Bite Me. Old Man Murphy, what would you like to be
Hi.
called? What would you like me to call you for the purpose of the podcast? What are your pronouns? And can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Just call me Murphy. It's the old man part is it was a joke a long time ago, and it just kept on rolling.
Is it a
He
joke?
him. Yeah, it's yeah. I keep on. So, well, you're younger than I am. Why are you going by old man? It said you need to know the story, and I'm like, I don't feel
Depends who
like
you
telling the
ask.
story today.
Yeah, like
It's
a Gen Z, they'd be like, oh, that's an old
yeah,
man.
yeah. Oh, I was born in '91. I said, oh my god, I graduated. Oh. But yes, yeah, altruism and benevolence from a white guy. This definitely, and I'm not even Republican.
Yeah.
So yeah, what you asked me?
Oh, I
Yeah,
asked you who you were.
yeah. I am. Hi, I'm Murphy. Hi,
Okay.
I'm Murphy, and I'm an alcoholic.
Nice. All right. Cool.
Mm,
I am not an
no,
alcoholic, but I
mm,
support your journey if
no,
that's
it's
the one you're headed for.
yeah. Um,
As long
let's
as you're not
see.
hurting anyone else.
Yeah, I do. I got my own little thing here on TikTok. I do live streams every now and then. My daughter keeps on wanting to call me right now. I don't want to say shut up, but hey,
Oh, it's okay.
she'll so yeah, I do the TikTok thing. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. I do live streams every Saturday night on Twitch. And I'm just here just promote pretty much just talk about being on the right side of history, dad stuff, mental health stuff, a little bit of fun mixed in between.
I think
So
what
that's
you're
pretty
saying,
much,
you're here to talk about your feelings.
yeah,
Yeah, well, that's great. I like
yeah,
that. We need some men to talk about their feelings. I think
because
you and
there's
I were
nothing wrong
saying,
with that.
yeah, we were saying before the show that there would be less casualties in the world, less
Yes, there would be.
fatalities if men just talked about their feelings a little
Yeah.
more. So, you're a leftist like me, and anyone who
Mhm.
watches your page knows that you hate assholes like me. That said, you are in fact a white man.
Mhm.
And what keeps your compassion in check where you think other men may be lacking? And was it derived from personal experience, or did an excellent woman just raise you?
Well, I'd like to say a little bit of both. Um, and I mean, I could stem a little bit of it. I could stem a little bit of it from actually going to Catholic grade school and reading the Bible rather
Sure.
than just say that I did. And I read about this interesting guy that would go around, and he didn't matter if you were a whore or you were a thief or if you were a centurion soldier. He would treat everyone with love and respect and kindness. And I'm thinking that's kind of cool. The whole I'm not one to quote the Bible that much. There are a couple things that will always resurface. The whole treat others as you would like to be treated, and judge not lest you be judged.
And we're also
So
assuming that you
those,
subscribe to like a brown Jesus, the real Jesus,
yes, oh, absolutely. I
in
mean,
its natural form.
that's just factual. I mean that. And I heard a stand-up comedian once say this, that it's like, if Jesus were blonde hair and white and blue-eyed, that would be the fucking miracle.
Yeah.
um yeah, but so personal experience, uh because I was bullied as a child, and I had a really rough time being a little kid. My dad was an alcoholic. I mean, he has long since been in recovery. He hasn't had a drop in about 25-30 years,
So
so
I'm
good
going to
on
assume you're
him.
not really an alcoholic. You were just being
No,
facetious
I
at the
say
beginning.
that I
Okay.
say that in passing. I mean, I
Yeah,
can stop whenever I want.
sure. Takes a sip.
um so yeah, and I've seen the really horrible things that kids and adults can do to each other, and how it's so easy to break somebody down. And I didn't want to do that with my life. I don't want to be remembered going through and just shitting on everything that everybody does just to make myself feel better. Because at the end of the day, at my funeral, are people going to remember me as being a good guy, or are they going to, or is anybody even going to show up?
Yeah.
So I look at it that kind of like I'm doing the right thing for the right reasons, but it's at the same time I'm getting a little bit out of it because I really like it's a personal satisfaction for me to something that I said that really helped me through this time. I've gotten a lot of comments on some of my videos. It's like, you're like a voice of sanity in these insane times, and I'm like, you need to get better standards. That's just personal.
I think you're saying your relatable content is cathartic for you and the people viewing it.
Yeah, for the most part, yes.
It's like
Sometimes I'll just throw in digs just because I can be a dick whenever I want to, because it's my fucking channel.
Yeah.
But it's and so that's half of it. Half of it is like, I just want to be remembered as a good person. And so no matter how much I'm hurting, no matter how much somebody has hurt me, I'll still end up doing the good thing no matter what.
Because that's who you are.
Yeah, it's just been ingrained in me that I mean, yeah, I can be, and I've been told that I am, but I like to think that those people have a completely different viewpoint. I've been accused of being an asshole. I'm not going to deny that I have not been an asshole in the past, but sometimes for better or worse, I'm an asshole because you brought that out in me. So congratulations, sure. You get to see that. Yeah. As being raised by an excellent woman, my mom was Baptist. So I
don't have anything good to say about religion.
And unfortunately, I found out that both my folks voted for Trump twice.
I too had that. My parents did this as we don't speak, but I found out on Facebook that they did, and I thought, okay, this makes sense. We haven't spoken for the last 10 years. You're just both batshit crazy, and I don't want anything to do with you. So. But you still have a relationship with your parents.
Yeah, I do. My dad's actually coming over tomorrow to help me hook up a ceiling fan.
Okay.
But no, I still have a decent relationship with my folks. It has gotten strained here and there for the main reason of my mental health. Now, I've said in numerous videos, I've suffered from depression and anxiety for years upon years upon years. And for most of my life, my folks were in the boat. Just think happy thoughts. Stop being so sad. Well, just concentrate on the good in your life. And I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm fucking cured.
What?
Oh,
you
it's
mean
a
I can
miracle.
just change my mind?
Oh,
and I don't have to feel this way?
Oh, I never thought
of genius.
Yeah, and I'm just, oh my, really? No. And then, so I've been trying to just communicate with my parents. It's not just sad. It's not that. That's not it at all.
It's a little more involved than
and
that.
Then my mom goes to a Josh Groban concert.
Oh, wow.
And she had an epiphany there. She had an epiphany because Josh Groban said in between a couple of his songs that you need to check on all the strong people in your life because they might be going through problems as well. They're just better at hiding their pain.
I love
and
Josh
if you
Groban.
if you know anybody that suffers from mental health or has depression or anxiety or anything like that, make sure you check on them. Yeah. So that as soon as she gets back from the concert, she calls me and she said, Josh Groban said that this, and I'm like, okay, I've been telling you this for 30 years. And then some schmuck on a stage that can sing like a bird just pulled something out of his ass. And you said, yes, I'm going to do that thing. And it's going to make everything all better.
I'm not going to lie. It is good advice that Josh Groban gave.
Yeah,
but it does
great
suck
advice.
It sucks
But
that your mom took the word over a stranger than her
mm-hmm.
own child.
And I told her that, and I just said, Mom, I love you, but fuck you.
Pretty much.
It's just come on.
That's
It's
valid.
my dad is completely clueless.
Yeah.
He means well. He wants to do the right thing. He means well, but my dad is clueless because he's had tunnel vision for so long. I mean,
Oh, you mean
Mr.
he enables
Executive,
her?
Mr. Huh?
He enables her to be the way
No, no,
she
no, 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 no,
is?
no, 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 no.
Oh, okay.
There was a whole big before my dad went sober. She enabled him by not doing anything about it.
Sure,
And then
sure.
my dad finally broke down and said, I need to get some help. And
Well,
then
good.
my mom came out into the garage where we were waiting to, get a ride to school. And she said, you guys are going to have to, and she was in tears. She was a complete mess. And you guys are going to have to get to school on your own. I'm sorry. I got an emergency that happened back in the house. I'm like, me and my brother were just like, okay. And we just had to walk. We just walked to school. It was like maybe a mile at the farthest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we walk home from school every day. We can do it in the morning. Who cares? That's when we found out that my dad realized that he had a drinking problem and he needed to get some help. And my dad just completely broke down and realized that, everything is falling apart.
Yeah.
And so my mom helped him and she helped him get help. And then he went to the whole thing and he quit cold turkey. He was not on a program or anything like that. He just turned off the tap and that was it.
That's the best way to do it, I think.
Yeah. That's how I quit
in my
smoking.
opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I applaud them for, getting through that. But there's other things that, just because they haven't experienced them, they're in the mindset, well, if it hasn't happened to me,
yeah,
why do I care? And I'm like,
also
that's why you're
mentality.
Republican.
Yep.
It's just that mindset that like, if it doesn't happen to me, if it hasn't happened to me personally, I don't give a shit.
So on that note,
yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
because we're talking about like how they are not worried about I when you say that, what I hear is my dad, who I was trying to talk about global warming with him many eons ago, and he's like, well, it's not gonna, like, he's just using this plastic, and he's like, I'm not gonna be around for the effects of this. And so it's a very like these are the people who are making the world a shit show, and today's world is a shit show. And undeniably seemingly hate driven by capitalism and greed. And do you think it's always been that way, or we just don't see it until like adulthood? Like, are we them now? Are things getting worse with time? Like, they created that. I mean, we're talking about boomers, we're talking about your parents, we're talking about my parents. They created this. Like,
before
no. You go ahead.
Okay. No, I was going to agree. I think the world was fine before the boomers. I put it all on them. I'm putting it all on them because they won't fucking go away. You should all be retired in Florida. Shut the fuck up. Golf. Go around in your go-karts in the villages.
Do you watch South Park?
Huh?
Do you watch
I used to watch South Park. You gotta
watch the new COVID one. They're like, why are we we just keep old people alive? Why do we keep old people alive? And they're like, in the future, we keep old people alive. Why?
Yeah, it is. It's very true. It's, why are we and then we're keeping them alive so they can live off of a machine. I mean, I'm not going to deny that people were always shitty. Okay. Because I mean, that's when you hit the age of reason, that's when you're like, oh my God, I finally took a bite of the apple and everybody is an asshole.
Yes.
But I don't think it really got bad until the baby boomers took over.
Yeah.
And they realized how they could use that eye-awakening moment to make so much money for themselves and milk the system dry.
Yeah.
And they have absolutely no idea that they can't take it with them when they die.
You know where that started was the Vietnam War. There's a book out there called A
Mm.
Generation of Sociopaths.
Mhm.
And that's where you start to see it shift for them as they figure out like, oh, we can just take all this for us and
Mhm.
we know that it's going to affect our children, but
Mhm.
fuck that.
Yeah,
Like, it's a
that's
great book.
exactly
I
it.
recommend it to everybody, but that's where that starts, is that
Mhm.
mentality is they felt like they were entitled to it because, you know, the draft. You'll still hear boomers talk about the
Oh
draft.
yeah. Yeah.
Fuck my
my
uterus, the
no, yeah,
draft.
yeah. My uncle was in Vietnam, so yeah, he doesn't
My
really
dad too.
talk about it that much. My dad was lucky enough not to get drafted.
Sure.
But yeah, my uncle was, and he doesn't really talk about it, but he doesn't he has never come across as somebody that's, I've seen things and stuff, but I wouldn't recommend it, man.
Yeah.
He's not that way at all. So maybe he just had a different experience where it didn't traumatize him like everybody else. But that doesn't mean, because he experienced the Vietnam War differently, that doesn't mean that millions of Vietnam veterans weren't traumatized just because somebody says so that I'm related to.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the whole generation of sociopaths, I 100% agree with that.
They're
That
just not financially literate.
they're that, and they don't. It's that
That
that learned
mentality.
apathy,
Yeah.
that learned and developed sense of apathy that is like, it's never going to affect me.
Yep.
So why should I give a fuck?
Yeah.
And think about your kids.
Yeah.
Who cares? Oh my fucking Christ! Why did you have kids then? Because
There
it was
was
the thing to
commercials.
do. That's
Yeah,
what our
they say
parents did.
that.
It was
We
the
didn't
thing
have
to
a
do. It's like,
TV.
yeah, we in 76, it was the cool thing to do, to have as many kids, because everyone was going to Studio 54, and I did coke off a hooker's ass. And then
And then you were
9 months
born.
later, you came around. Happy New Year. What?
No. There's commercials
Oh.
that my friend Psycho Cat on TikTok, she posts about the boomers, that like the commercials, they had to be reminded, be nice to their kids. Like there's commercials like, remember, spend time with your child today. There's like, it's in the 70s and 80s, and there's these boomer parents and these like children in a corner, like,
Yeah.
that's how it was. I don't know anybody who likes their boomer parents. I don't know anybody. Okay, like they'll have a relationship with their boomer parents. Like, I don't know anybody who's like, yes, boomers
I
raised me
love
awesome.
my mom and dad.
Yeah.
They were so awesome to have around,
great.
and they taught me so much. They taught me how to balance my checkbook, and how to do my laundry,
I was
and
hugged.
how to pay my rent on time, and how to change my dad. I swear, every single day, you know what you need to take in school? And I'm like, what? You need to take auto mechanics.
Okay. That's
Why?
not a heteronormative thing at all.
Why do I need to take auto mechanics? Well, what happens if you break down on the side of the road? You need to learn how to take care of your car. I'm like, we got YouTube for that. I can just say, how do I change my oil? Or there's a 5-minute video. Okay. Well, I don't need to hear about all my dad. Well, back in my day, that wasn't in the script of the video. I don't have to hear that line at all.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
But yeah,
I be Googling stuff all the time.
Oh yeah, and to my kids, on the other hand, I don't know where I went wrong, because I use the internet. It's like, if I don't know how to do something, I will search it. Oh, here's a fact. Here's a tutorial on how to do something. I use the internet as a tool and for other things, but we're not going to get those other things. But if my son will come to me and he said, hey, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to learn how to play this game. And I'm like, that's a game I don't know how to play. There's probably a YouTube video for it. And he goes, fine. If you don't know, then I guess you're worthless.
No.
I just told you how to get there, dude. But yeah,
I same. I'm with you. Like my daughter the other day, we had to learn how to do fractions, and fuck me, because they're teaching them different these days, I guess. I don't know what was wrong with math that we went and changed it, but sure. So I'm sitting there trying to help this kid do her fractions, my 6th grader. And I said, I think we have to watch a video. And I got the same response that you did.
Oh, come on.
Watch a video.
It's like that scene in there was a Mel Gibson movie, I want to say Payback.
Okay.
But he played like a hitman, and he was kind of, you know, stabbed in the back by his organization. So he's going around and he's killing everybody in the organization. And then he finds out that his contact through the organization that's been with him his entire career is in on the grift. So I mean, there's like a little bit of a firefight, and then the guy runs out of ammo, and then, you know, he just, you know, breaks his leg and everything like that. So that they're exhausted and everything like that.
It
And
sounds like a very masculine movie.
it is. It's a very shoot 'em up. You know, my dick's bigger than yours movie.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
But this scene I will never forget for my entire life. He's in the apartment and they're both kind of exhausted, and his associate is, you know, finally saying, you know, well, you know, I was told by this guy who told by this guy. This comes straight from the head. It wasn't my choice. I couldn't do anything about it. It was either you or me. And I said, okay, well, all right. So you have any more information for me? He said, that is everything that they've told me. And I said, all right. He said, don't kill me, just don't kill me. I said, no, I got use for you. And he puts a cigarette in his mouth and he can't find his lighter. And he said, you got a light for me? And he goes, no. And then he said, oh. I said, well, then what good are you? And he puts a pillow over his face, shoots him in the head. And I'm like, you know, that's a lot like how my kids treat me when I don't know all the answers. Is like, well, what good are you? Boom. And then they just shoot me. And it's just like, I have no association with this man. He's old, Murphy, and he's gray. And
that's a very, you took that to a deep place.
That was a very deep place. Yes, it was.
I mean, I feel like it's a bit of a stretch to compare Mel Gibson killing somebody to your child not watching a video. But that's okay. That's my
son looks at me and he's just like, you're dead to me.
Okay. No, I know that expression. I do.
Yeah, it's
disappointment.
Yeah, it's like, you're supposed to know everything, Dad. And I'm like, wow. Our last name is not Britannica. Shut the fuck up.
So speaking of blissful, ignorant childhood, we both have kids. Mm-hmm. And do you think that that's what puts us more in touch with our human nature? Or we talk about boomers, how they don't care because it won't affect them. I mean, what makes us different from them in that regard? Like, what does in fact drive one, in your opinion, to do or feel good or evil? Or to care or not to care in this instance.
Well, I can being a latchkey kid, I don't want my kids to go through that same experience. Yeah. And that's pretty much my drive is, you know, I had a lot of issues with my childhood. I don't want my kids to go through the exact same thing. And I think that should be every parent's at least bare minimum motivation.
To do a little better than what you had.
Exactly. To let your kids have a better life than you had. And it's still going to happen. You're going to give them everything that you didn't have. I mean, I wasn't in organized sports until I was in high school. And then my daughter, she's in all these activities, and, you know, I wasn't able to be in a lot of stuff, and my brother wasn't able to be in a lot of stuff. But, so we're doing all this stuff for our kids. We're making sure that, you know, if they have questions, we try to give them the right answer and not the safe answer. So that's why, I mean, I made absolutely sure when, you know, my kids were very young and they said, where do babies come from? We don't say anything. We don't give them the stork bullshit. We don't give them the birds and the bees. We don't even say, well, the baby grows in the mommy's tummy. We don't even go that bullshit. We just say, well, when a man and a woman get drunk at a party.
Oh, okay.
Then they
that's a little bit different direction than I take it. But I do use exact terms.
Yeah,
but in their proper form.
We use the proper term. Yeah, we use the proper terms. Long since then, they have learned all the slangs for those terms. But that's on me because I can't keep my mouth shut and I don't have a filter at home. Well, I think the internet
helps you out too.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, they know the whole process. Of course, they're going to have questions along the way. When my daughter starts going through her period, I know for a fact she's going to be freaking out, even though we've prepared her. Yeah. We've let her know this is going to happen. It's completely natural, but it's still going to freak you out because it's coming out of you.
So,
Um,
having said all that, like, do you think that our parents also did the best they could with, like, do you think they did better with us than what they had?
no.
No, I don't think they
No,
did.
they a lot of them just did bare minimum. We're keeping them alive. We're keeping them fed. We're keeping them in school. That's all we really need to do because
I wonder what makes us different.
we're more interested in making money
Yeah,
than
okay.
being a parent was a social status
Sure.
back in the 70s and 80s. It was like, well, I have 3 kids, well, I have 5 kids, well, I have 25 kids. Jesus Christ, Harold, that's awesome. um
Poor Harold's kids.
I grew up across the street from a family that had 14 kids.
That's a lot.
And I mean, the eldest at the time, their eldest was in their mid 20s, and the youngest was
Probably in
like
diapers.
2 years younger than me.
Okay.
So it spanned at least, you know, 15, maybe 20 years. I think the youngest was like 5 when I was 7. So
Did not believe in birth control in that house.
no, they did not. They did not. And I don't know how all of them lived in that one house. Which it was just, I think they had like, a couple sub basements just to house all the children.
I'm sure they could tell us some stories.
Oh yeah, I don't want to hear them.
Sure.
But yeah, so yeah, I think honestly they and they're realizing how much they fucked up now. I mean, the ones that actually look back in retrospect and they see how much pain their kids are going through nowadays. Now these are the ones that still care and they still want to be an active part in their kids and their grandkids' lives. Not all of them want to do that, which is sad, but there are some that still do, like my folks. I mean, they still want to be an active part of my life. They want to be an active part of my kids' life. And it drives me, it gets me angry a little bit when I see how much time and care and attention that my dad gives to my kids. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, why the fuck couldn't he do that for me when I was their age?
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to report that my parents give my children equal amount of attention as they gave me, which is virtually 0. So it is 0.
Yeah.
Good for them. Consistency, solidarity. Yeah.
They're on the shitty war path. It's like, who's going to show up at their funeral?
Yeah, no kidding. No, it's like, I don't know what's worse, to see that unfold in front of you and have to grieve that, or to not have it at all, like I do, and have to grieve that. It's just like, why do we have to grieve at all?
Yeah,
Can't
exactly.
you guys just be not shitty human beings?
Yeah, it's
too hard.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to go through when you're just saying, I just need somebody to talk to. Said, well, daddy's got to go to the office in a half hour and mom's off to bridge club, and okay, well, I guess I'm cooking fish sticks for myself and my brother now.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've had our ups and downs, but I look at it, I mean, if you look at one thing about Gen X kids, and we persevere, that's probably one of our best qualities, is that, oh shit, we got to make it on our own again. We're used to that.
Yeah.
Which it's good. It's a good thing to have, but at the same time, how did we learn that? How did we learn to be so perseverant? And that's the sad part.
People always want to say, well, kids are resilient, or, oh, my favorite, people love to tell me, they're like, you're so strong. Well, I shouldn't have to be.
Exactly.
That's not that. Maybe I wanted to be weak. Maybe I wanted to be vulnerable. I feel like that portion was taken from me. Yeah. And I'm a millennial, so I don't know, we can draw the parallels of like Gen X and millennials all we want to, but basically you understand, you're smelling what I'm stepping in.
Yeah.
It's like, we should not have had to take on this pain to be who we are, and it is a grieving process. I mean, like, you seeing your dad with your son, I'm sure is kill me.
Well, it's and when I see that, I'm seeing it, like, if my dad was sober for when I was growing up, I could have gotten that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'm thinking back, okay, well, it was and then part of me wants to justify it, like, well, he was a prisoner of addiction. So, and
Bargaining.
then at the same time, but he wasn't, and then the other half of my brain, that the angry part is like, but he wasn't drunk all the time. And then
Sure.
the logical part of my brain said, yeah, the part that he wasn't drunk, he was asleep.
Yeah.
So, um,
It's a huge loss.
yeah, but I look at it now, and the thing about my dad, he realized he fucked up. He did, to every day that I spend with him, he realized that he fucked up with me and my brother. And
Did he apologize?
well, he told us right away, when it's like, he took us to McDonald's.
Okay.
And my brother, he had no idea what was going on. He was a little too young to understand, but my dad said, yeah, um I'm an alcoholic and I'm getting help, and so I'm gonna need some help getting through this. And I said, that's awesome. That's awesome that you are doing something to better yourself. And I gained a lot of respect for my dad for, saying that to me and my brother. But still, I mean, we still butted heads because, I mean, he's very conservative and I'm very progressive and liberal.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and to this day, I can tell just by his actions and the way he talks to me and the way he hangs out with my kids that he's still very remorseful over missing a lot of years when I was that age. And he
He's trying to
doesn't want,
compensate.
he tries to overcompensate
He's
a
trying
little.
to atone.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
applaud him for doing that. But at the same time, Jesus
Just
Christ,
sucks. It
I
just
mean, I
sucks
wish
for
I
you.
could have had that.
Yeah.
But at least somebody's getting it. And
Yeah.
right now it's when he's focusing on my kids, it's not about me. It's about my kids. And that's where it needs to be at that moment. I can take him off to the side after that moment and say, dude, where's I want you to read me a bedtime story now. So yeah, but it's kind of like that. And we've had loads of conversations about, he doesn't really like talking about the past because I can tell he's embarrassed.
I'm
And
sure.
when he's embarrassed about something, he just does not talk about it. So
Yeah.
most of the time I can't get a word in edgewise. He's like, oh, no, we're not. How about them Packers? And I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah. Toxic masculinity.
So,
On that note, we're going to take a quick break on Bite Me. All right, guys, welcome back to Bite Me. We are here with Old Man Murphy talking about the cruelty of human nature. So Murphy, your TikTok posts are often clever and poignant, but occasionally we'll see a meaningful quote on your Instagram that would suggest it's not all farts and funnies. That to me signifies a man or a being who is in touch with his feelings and unapologetic about it, as it should be. What advice would you give for the men who are emotionally constipated? Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
And the term emotionally constipated is poetry.
Okay.
So
yes.
They're
like,
yeah, they're like, cry. I can't feel the feelings. Come on, Terry, I'm giving you permission to cry, motherfucker.
What if there was like a Pepsi or a Tums for feelings,
That would be awesome. And they would be sold out. I mean, that's I mean, shit. I mean, we got Viagra for guys that can't get it up anymore. Let's make a pill for guys that can't get it out anymore.
Nice.
So my advice for men who are, a beautiful term, emotionally constipated. I mean, the macho voice in the back of my head is, what the fuck is wrong with you? But that's not, there's nothing wrong with having emotions. It takes a stronger man to realize, to admit that he's in pain than one who hides it. It shows a lot more strength when you can be honest with yourself, when you can say, I'm hurting because of this, or I can't sleep because of this, or I have a hard time going from my day to day because of this, that, and the other thing. Like for me, and I like to use myself as examples for a lot, just so like, it's not just, I'm not just trying to blow just give you smoke and mirrors here. Um, 9 times out of 10, when I'm done with work, when I get home from work, I will have to take a nap because I'm emotionally exhausted just from keeping it together. And because I wake up and so much goes through my head, and it's all it's routine now, but still it's a lot to just say, no, got to keep you back, got to keep it's kind of like, making sure that, you none of the invading forces get through that massive gate at the castle.
What would
So you
happen
got
if it did?
uh
What are men afraid of? Like, why are they
yeah.
like, well, why are you guys willing to sacrifice your personal sanity to the point where you have to take a nap instead of just letting the floodgates open for, like, I don't know, 10 minutes a day?
Well, for me, I don't want anybody at work to have to deal with what's going through my mind, because for the most part, it's my issues. I should not have to rely, and a lot of guys, and they're like, no, I got to do it all myself. And I agree with that it's my problem, and I have been dealing with it for myself for so long that I don't know how to do it any other way. But when I go on social media, that's kind of like my safe space. So, and that's where I'm able to release some of it. So I'm able to go on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, and I can say, I've been in a position where I think absolutely everybody hates me. And part of me is saying that's not true, but I still can't fight that feeling that, no matter what I do, I'm going to be the bad guy in somebody's story.
Interesting.
So, and I don't see any, I mean, for me, there's a time and place for everything. And, when I go to work, it's, that's not the time and the place for it, because, I've been hired for a job. If it gets too much, I will easily call in sick, and I will just take a mental health day. I have no problem with that term. And I remember back when, when I was just still going to school, I was a kid, and my folks were working. You couldn't take a mental health day. You'd be laughed at.
Yeah,
now
that was not a thing growing up.
Now it's just like, yeah, I need to take a day, so I'll be back in the office tomorrow. And then you take that day, and then you just take your 5-hour shower and cry the entire time.
Or if you're a woman, you lay in bed with your dogs and watch Netflix.
If I had dogs, yes. I have a cat, so I do that.
You don't have dogs?
We used to have a dog. He passed away a couple years ago.
Okay.
But I'm more of a cat person.
Oh, I don't know that we can be friends. I'm so sorry.
Well, here's the thing. And there is a very poignant reason for me being a cat person. Okay. When I was a kid, we had a Dalmatian. Oh. And Dalmatians are very high strung, and they're very hyper. And so we kind of offset each other, because we would run each other ragged, because I don't know if you can't tell, but I used to be a hyperactive child. No, shock. Oh my, that's amazing. I never would have guessed that about you, Murphy. Yeah. But it was my best friend. And when we used to live in Ohio, the leash laws were very lax. When we moved to Wisconsin, the leash laws were a lot more strict. So we had to keep him in the kennel when we went to school, or my folks went to work, or what have you. And he got bored, and he started chewing on one of his front paws, and he developed a staph infection. So by the age of 9, we had to put him down, and it traumatized me to the point where that is why my name is Murphy, because I'm named after the dog.
Oh, you have redeemed yourself from being a cat person.
No dog will ever be able to take his place.
I get it.
So that's why, I mean, the dog that we used to have, I was fine with, but he's no Murphy.
Yeah, okay.
So that's why I'm a cat person, is because, well, I've seen a lot of cats and they're all like, dogs have owners, cats have staff, and yes,
it's true.
What do you need, sir? Do you need your food now? Okay, let me stop mid poop and get you your treats. Let me do that for you, sir. Are you happy? Thank you very much. Can I go back to what I was doing? So yeah, but yeah, I'll lay in the bed with the cat. I'll curl up in a fetal position, and the cat knows.
Yeah.
He'll just like get right in that little, and I'll just be, so like, oh, thank you. Just he'll be sitting with me, and we don't have a TV in the bedroom, so I'll just be sitting there alone with my thoughts, and that's super fucking dangerous because
I get that too.
It'll just keep on spiraling and spiraling and spiraling until I just,
Well, it's like, do we have ADHD, or do we just try to keep ourselves busy so that we aren't alone with our thoughts? I think you're actually diagnosed, but for me, it's definitely it's trauma response.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And that's most of the time why I when I come home from work, I'll be exhausted because all of those, I'll still be maintaining, I'll be high functioning anxiety and depression. So, I'll be able to function normally, but in my head is constantly running and just going through everything, every possibility of what could possibly go wrong.
And then
so when I get home,
thoughts.
And so when I get home, it's just,
I
need to take a nap. I just to shut my brain off. Just stop. Give me 5 fucking minutes, please.
Yeah. You know what else is a nice distraction? Specifically for you men. My partner's way more into this than he has a right to be, but it comes to our last question, and unrelated. Hockey. So you and I are in a cult.
Yes, we are.
A hockey cult. We didn't know we were joining a cult, as one often does not initially. And what recruited you? What drew us in? Why can't we leave? And what do we want to warn other parents about? I could write a book.
Oh, it would give War and Peace a run for its money.
But it is a nice distraction, honestly.
It is.
And that's a positive thing. You focus on the kids,
For the most part. Now, my son's been in hockey for 7 years. So 6 out of those 7 years, yes, it has been a fantastic distraction. This past year, not so much.
Yeah.
And what recruited me in was we went to a Milwaukee Admirals, and that's our local hockey team since we don't have NHL. We went to my son was about 3, maybe 4, and in between the periods, they'll have the local youth hockey kids play an exhibition game, and he was right up against the glass, and he says, "Daddy, I want to do that." And I immediately started doing the budgeting in my head, and the accountant in the back of my
kid,
the accountant in the back of my
each
head.
Year.
The accountant just said, "I fucking quit. Fuck it. This ain't worth the pay."
It's a lot.
So we got him in youth hockey, and he absolutely loves it. And the thing that keeps me sane about the whole thing is that I made a deal with him. And I've seen a lot of parents live vicariously through their kids in sports. I did not want to be one of those parents. So I made a deal with my son. If at any time you are playing and it's just not fun for you anymore, tell me. We'll say, okay, you finish out the season and then you are done. No questions asked. And you just walk away.
Yeah.
And then no guilt trip, no nothing, no
But
asking.
He's never gonna do it. My kids have to make me go to the arena because I'm not trying to go sit there in the cold for 2 fucking hours. It hurts. It's not fun.
Oh, we go to 2 different arenas for practices or games, and one of them will actually turn the heat on in the bleachers. The other one, no, we can't turn
the arena too. They don't turn the heat on.
And they give the dumbest fucking reason because the heat vents are pointed towards the bleachers.
We just started going up to the thermostat and fucking doing it.
And we keep on asking, it's like, can you please turn on the heat? Is that we can't turn on the heat. It will melt the ice.
I don't think so. I think it's a budgeting issue.
Are you fucking stupid? Yeah, it's got to be a budgeting. Yeah, they're cheap. Exactly.
Well, ours even, do you know what the craft award is? Like ours won the craft award, and it's like some big 20,000 award that they give to hockey arenas every year, and ours got it. And we have Rapid City Rush, and you were talking
Mm-hmm,
about your local team as well, but so
mm-hmm.
our arena is very nice. I mean, we're talking like you have the capacity to warm the fucking parents,
Well,
but they still don't do it.
the problem with our arenas, and this is just youth hockey. I mean, for the Milwaukee Admirals, they got a professional stuff that's funded by UW Milwaukee, so they got money coming out the ass, and that place is nice. But for youth hockey, we just have arenas that are funded by the park and rec system
Yeah.
through our county, and you get a red county to fund parks and recreation. It's like, why are you doing all that girly shit? So yeah, you're not going to do that, and completely forgetting the fact that all of your youth football, all of your youth baseball, all of your youth hockey, and all sports rely on the parks and recreation department for their facilities and everything. Like, so you see baseball fields that are just so, they got weeds growing out of everything, and football fields that if you make a touchdown and you touch the goalposts, you need to get a tetanus shot right away. For the hockey arenas, they're meat lockers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely insane. um
And then the volunteer hours.
the volunteer hours, yeah, it's, for me, I mean, it's
Do you
just,
like it?
it's, well, we got a lot of different opportunities that we can do. I mean, we just have to put in 10 hours for the season, and then we get a discount
10?
on next year. Yeah, we only have to put in 10.
40
Oh,
per child.
I can understand it, like if my daughter was in hockey, which she has threatened us to do, and I specifically say threatened for a
We're
reason.
40 per child. That's what is
Oh
that?
yeah,
That's
it would be 10.
hours.
I think
I
we have,
know. That's
how
crazy.
many kids are in your organization though?
Oh man, that's a lot. It's got to be at least. I mean, if you include travel, it's got to be at least 300.
Yeah, I think we have just in my son's age range, because we go, U6, U8, U10, U12, U14 for each individual level. Just in my son's level, going through we have at least 100 at my son's level, and between all the rest, I think we easily go from, I think we got 500 maybe.
Yeah, okay, it's a little
So
bit
I mean,
bigger.
and then depending on ice time and the amount of parents that just help run the thing, we get a hell of a discount on our ice fees the next year if we do our volunteer hours
We don't do that. Then
for
we
this
don't get
year.
that either.
Really? Well,
Yeah,
fuck.
I don't know.
Yeah, normally what I do is I help out with the wreath sales, and when the all the kids will sell wreaths for money fundraising and everything like that. And then when the wreaths are actually delivered, I'll spend an entire Saturday help getting them off the truck and then organizing them into piles of, these are the 72-inch wreath, and the 60-inch, and then the 48s, 36s, and then the really small ones. And then you got some that are in shapes and everything like that. Then we organize that, and then we organize all the orders, and then we wait for the rest of the day. And that whole process, getting them off the truck, organizing it into the piles, and then organizing them into order piles, takes about an hour and a half. And then
It's a labor of love.
for the rest of the day, we're just waiting for parents to get their asses to the arena to pick these sons of bitches up.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, to hockey's credit for
Mm-hmm.
all of the sacrifice that you do give, my children are all very happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
it is a very fun thing to watch them on the ice, and it is an
Yes.
elite sport. I mean, it's not like anybody. I feel like anybody can say, "I'm sorry if this is your kid," but anybody can say their kid's in basketball. My kid's in hockey.
Okay. Yeah. If
It's a
Yeah,
thing.
it's absolutely. I think the best kind of funny thing video that I've ever seen about hockey is a full-grown hockey player was just doing some around the circles, and then he kind of slingshots himself up the ice and he completely body checks a Zamboni, and it blew the Zamboni back. Now I know the whole thing was
very
for
expensive.
comedic effect, but at the same time, it paints the picture that hockey players and hockey kids are tough. And
Violent, yeah.
yes, my son keeps on saying that I want to play football. I said, no, you don't want to do that, because they don't take care of you like hockey takes care of you. You are going twice as fast in hockey.
Yeah.
And you've gotten your clock clean. I was there when my son, he was playing in actually an invitational tournament, and a kid on the other team did not know how to stop, but he knew how to go fast, and boarded my son, and completely he rang all of his bells.
Yeah.
And then my son got up and he was heading back to the bench, and he was really wobbly.
Yeah.
And they kept him out for the rest of the game because they wanted to make sure that, he didn't have a concussion or anything. And
You're saying that same kind of impact can be had in football, but you won't have as much padding and protection, I think is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's, you got more padding, you got more protection, and
on the ice you slide.
It's even faster on the ice, but you still have more thicker, more stronger padding and protection in hockey than you do in football.
It's not such a blunt force trauma. I mean, it's still trauma. Don't get us wrong. You can get injured very badly in hockey. Yeah. We're just saying, in comparison to football, there have been less long-term injuries.
Yeah, with football, it's very long. A lot of head injuries in football that
contact
that affect the rest of your life. I'm not saying
you don't see a lot of like hockey players that are in their 40s and 50s, but you might on football seat.
Yeah, exactly. I think
is Tom Brady ever gonna die?
Oh, I just want him to fucking retire. I don't care if he dies or not. I just want him to say, I'm retired. I'm retired. No, I'm back. No, I'm tired. And
we don't wish death on Tom Brady. I do wish that I don't want to see his face anymore.
I just want him to go away and disappear.
I want to go away.
Yeah.
I want him, Brett Favre, the Kardashians, and Jeff Bezos to go away.
I'm so sorry about Brett Favre.
I know, it's very sad.
I just read the article that he's been implemented in a like an $8 million Ponzi scheme or something.
I did a video. People are losing their minds. I know.
Why?
It too, Brute.
Oh my God. It so broke my heart.
But that is the way it is.
Yeah.
That is the cruelty of human nature.
That is.
Wrapping it up, do you have anything you want to add? Like, what do you want to tell people? Do you have like a website, a charity? What do you got going on in your life?
Yes, I do have a website. It's wellhey.com. That's WELLHEY.com. And that's pretty much just, a collection of all my YouTube videos and where you can see me on other social media, and some of my short stories that I've written, and some all fun stuff and everything like that. It's also a blog. So, of course, I'm all over the place on social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I even have a Clapper site that I haven't touched in about a year.
Not worth it.
Yeah, but the other thing that I do that I'm proud of, I do a live stream every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Central on twitch.tv. It's called the Salt Lake Live Stream, and I play video games. It's that whenever I live stream, whether it be on TikTok or on Twitch, it's non-political stuff. I'm just there to have fun and hang out. In my live stream on Twitch, I get shit-faced and I play video games, so it's always a lot. I'm holding a controller, but it's not doing I'm holding it upside down. That's why. I will give stuff away. We'll have a lot of fun.
Okay, it's like there's games. There's
a lot of chat games where you can earn in-game in-stream currency, and depending on how much currency you have at the end of the stream, you might be eligible to enter into the giveaway. And I have had hundreds upon hundreds of winners, and they're just little tchotchke things that have my logo on them. Coasters, shot glasses, keychains.
I appreciate your use of the word tchotchke. Yes.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, it means, like junk, but cute junk.
Knickknacks.
Some knickknacks
if you
for
will.
To remember you by.
Yeah, bumper stickers and a whole mess of other stuff. And we have a lot of fun. And that's pretty much what it's all about when I do my live streams. I just want everyone to, sit back, have a great Saturday night, and just have some fun.
Yeah.
And anyone that comes in and tries to do political stuff, nope, we're not doing that today. Not today.
So
So
you
yeah,
heard it here. You can go hang out with Murphy rent free in his basement, I think. Not
yeah.
literally, but virtually.
Well, if you want to bring a bottle of whiskey, yeah, I'll let you crash on the couch if you want to.
You the guy on the couch. Well, I want to thank you for your time
Absolutely.
tonight. I know you're
Thank
very
you
busy.
for having me. I appreciate this.
Absolutely. I'm your host, Brooke, guys. We'll see you next time on Bite Me. Be sure to check out I've been drinking. Not really. Truthful Groomer website, Insta, Twitter, and we'll see you next time on Bite Me.